It's as well I'm not going to be doing the whole of this on camera, because I'd just be waffling about crap instead of... Oh, I am, sorry. Right. Nope, a couple more. Now, okay, now single diamond plaiting I can't pull as tightly as four seam because there's more friction. More uppers and downs to the strands. And these are quite thickish strands as well. So more friction yet. Okay, that'll do. So now I'm going under one, over one, under one, over one. Once again I pull them around there, hold them out of the way. There you go. Under one, over one, under one, over one. And again, pull tight, plait loose. Well, at least I pull tight and plait loose, because it just seems to make us a lot more even. Under one, over one, under one, over one. Where am I? That's good. Now I'm not pulling against that point up there. I'm pulling more against my left thumb. Well, when I'm pulling the right-handed strand. Under one, over one, under one, over one. Make sure that's in the right place. Yep, held nice and loosely. And now lots of tension. And keep it up for long enough for the strand to sort itself out further up. Because with each pull, I'm tightening 2 or 3 turns of each strand. And where you draw the line at pulling depends on what kind of result you get, I suppose, from previous efforts. If it's like a stick, then maybe you've overdone it, and if it's like a noodle, perhaps some more. Now, unlike up at the top, I'm going under one, over one, under one, over one, not over one, under one, over one, under one. And you'll see what happens directly. Now you'll see what happens when I come out of the single diamond and go back onto four seam. Another couple of inches of this, dear viewer. And let's hope I've caught it all on video, because I'm not undoing this. I'll go on to the 5-footer and have another go. Because whatever it's turning out well, I do want to proceed. So yeah, I'm pulling against my right thumb here at an angle. I'm not pulling down too much on the core or pushing too much on the core. I don't want to force anything. I want a nice, smooth tension on the strand without torturing the core about or mucking the whole thing around in any way. Okay, I've got the end of the handle foundation between my thumb and forefinger at the moment. Keep referring up to my front sight there. Heave and tog. Sounds like a gaggle of canoeists have arrived. Still down by the River Wye, near Hay-on-Wye, on the Welsh border, which is a nice place to be making whips. How are we looking? Not bad. Another inch or so, and then I can change back to the four-seam work. Single diamond patting under 1/1 is the most stable. So for a grip it's good, for this kind of thing it's good. Whereas four-seam is the most flexible. And I reckon it's probably the most dense as well, because you can get a lot of tension up because of the lack of friction as mentioned. But that's what you'll find in the average whip thong is four-seam work. As I mentioned, I think it was in my first video on this, I don't really go in for fancy plaiting. I've done a bit, but it's not my cup of tea really. Especially on the thong, I don't like doing fancy plaiting on the thong because different plaits, different types of plait, herringbone, single diamond, whatever it happens to be, will give the thong a different radius of coil. So the rollout won't be quite as smooth. The really nice fancy plait Australian whips, like the beautiful stock whips and two-tone, the best ones seem to have their fancy plaiting on the handle and leave the thong as just straight four-seam work with different panels of colour in two-tone, because two-tone was needed to do the fancy work. Bit more. I wouldn't bother doing this with a whip possessed of two plaited bellies, because that's quite stiff enough. In fact, all the whips that I showed you in the first video are free of this little amendment. But then the earlier ones with a single belly had chunks of core in, and the later ones two bellies, lots and lots of leather, lots of strength, and no need to reinforce the junction. Some people use lots more twine at that point. I prefer not to. The twine's just for holding it in place, really. It's not a strength component as such. And even the core. Some people use kangaroo skin for the core, because it's a kangaroo hide whip. I tried that, but it's a heck of a lot stiffer. So suede split gives the shape and quite a lot of density, but it's nice and malleable. Well, not malleable because I'm not hammering it, but it's certainly does take the shape imposed by the plaiting nicely. Right, is that about enough? No, a couple more stitches. And then back to the four seam. Right. Under, over. And then while you're all having a cup of tea, I'll be carrying on with the rest of the plaiting. I like the natural tan because you can see the grease being squeezed out of it. You know, you've got as much grease in it as will go, and as much tension as you can get without actually breaking the strand or seizing the whole thing up too much. Okay, I think we're good to go now. Right, bear with me, won't be long. Because frankly, I could do with a cup of cha. It's lunchtime. No great refinements to this, it's just straight back to under 2/2. If it were a higher plat, there would be I'd be feeding it in the under x/x thing. Oh, shortly I will be able to show you the contrast to the first set of single diamond up at the top. And I think this is the one. Because that one has just gone under 1 and over 3. Up there, it goes under 3 and over 1. Yeah, that'll be it there. So you go from under 1/1 to under 2/2 nice and smoothly. But here, I couldn't, because I was already in under 2/2 mode because of up there, so I can't have it the same twice. I can have it one way and the other way. Few stitches more and then we can examine this a little bit more closely. Yeah, still straight, still aligned. Now this is taking quite a while, and these strands at this point are quite wide. As one gets further down towards the point and the strands get narrower, each one covers less width and it all takes longer. Okay, let's see what we've got. Starting the single diamond pattern here, going from under 2/2 to under 1/1 yields the same sort of result as starting the way I did up here. In other words, you've got under 1/1 and under 2/2. But coming back out of it, at this side, I've got this stitch here that goes over 1, 2, 3. Like here. I mean, that doesn't matter because this is the belly and it's exactly the same just inside out compared with this. Or that. But if I were doing an 8-strand overlay as that little whip over there, then I would be going over, under, rather than under, over, so that come that junction point it'll be nice and neat and not, as you see, this untidiness. Right, I think that just about wraps it up for this particular bit, and I'll bring it all back when I come to the end of the plaiting and need to finish it all off. Bye for now, folks.